As a newsflash, there are no more prisons. They're closing all the prisons today and letting everybody out. That's what one politician wants. They said, let my people go. Well, I got news for you. Those aren't my peeps. I've done some times with some shitheads you do not want out. I'm guaranteeing you. And that, GT, I bet you had a lot of friends that you thought maybe they're marginal at getting out.
Man, I remember I would walk around and just see people. I'm like, "Boy, I'm glad they're in here." I mean, there's some bad, especially you get in the state prisons, man, there's some bad people. They just murdered people. I mean, over nothing, wives, mother-in-laws, everything. And I'm thinking, does this lady have any concept of the type of people that if she abolished prisons and the police force, what the society would be like? I think there actually is a word for that.
Yeah. I think what they should do is if they were still alive, they could have had Ted Bundy and Charlie Manson go to her house for dinner sometime or something. I mean, think about it. I used to play basketball with a guy when I was in Latuna. And by prison standards, this guy was a great guy. He was a straight shooter. He wouldn't tell on you. Good basketball player. By societal standards, you would not want him around your house. We were playing basketball day when we got done, and he said to me, he said, I always enjoy playing basketball with you. He says, you're a cool guy who come from a different life, he goes, and stuff. He goes, and I said, yeah, man, you're cooler than hell. You're a great teammate. I said, this is why we won this championship. He goes, would you ever invite me to your house for dinner? Not on a fucking bet. Never let you around. I don't know where I live. And he even laughed because he knew it was true.
Yeah, and yet this is what the Democrats are electing and expect to get any traction. I mean, Trump's basically serving him up a midterm win, and these are the type of people that they're nominating to, a democratic socialist, that that believes in things like this. And me and you have talked about it. If the Democrats can find a way to fuck themselves, they're going to do it.
It's not just if you've been to prison, you should realize this, but there are people in prison that are criminals. Like I said, there are criminals. And when they get out, they expect to go back to their criminal lifestyle and they don't miss any days at work in that lifestyle. They're on it all the
No,
time. They don't call in sick.
no,
They're off.
you're right about it. My first 2 bids, all I did was plot more drug deals when I got out. You meet people in prison, you meet new connections. Oh, we can we can buy the weed here, take it to New York, whatever the thing. But that's what I plotted. And now you're talking about people that are violent criminals, which I wasn't, that are plotting crimes, violent crimes when they get out, robberies and stuff. They have no intention of going to lead a straight life. I've been in that position, so I know, but mine weren't violent crimes. And these people are going back out. They're going to go grab money, however they need to grab money as fast as they can. And good chance somebody's going to get hurt or killed.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, you gotta look at the classification of the inmates in there. So you got a lot of drug cases in there. These guys are nonviolent, they're low level, they're just douchebags. Get them, little prison reform, get them some rehab while they're in prison, which there does not exist in most prisons. That's a joke. But they get a little rehab, get them out. Maybe they can do something. Some of the white collar guys, not all of them, but a lot of them can get out. You ain't got to worry about them again. They are scared shitless while they're in there. They're going to be okay when they get out. They ain't going back. But you got the pedophiles, and if you can ever get them in prison, because obviously the ones on the Epstein list don't qualify for prison because they have enough money, but the ones that are in there, a lot of them, it's incurable. When I was a cop, I remember a psychologist, a psychiatrist saying one time, it's incurable. And so it's like it's a just a sexual desire. It's like, if you're a male heterosexual, you find females sexually attractive, and vice versa. These guys do this, but it's criminal. Well, they need to be somewhere. And then these just completely violent people, and there are some in there that will cut you apart and not really think much about it. You probably don't want them walking around the street by your school or where you work. Where are you going to put them at, in your fucking garage? I mein, really.
Yeah. And then what? Get rid of the police or even cut their funding way back. Well, who's going to find these guys? I was always on the cops and robbers. I was on the other team, but I always understood, the police need to do their job. I love having a police force in that. If they caught me, that means I slipped. But I didn't take it personal.
And I've been on both sides, been a cop, been an inmate, and I can tell you there's shitheads on both sides. There's no doubt. But there's quality people on both sides too. And people might think that's a crazy thing to say about inmates, but there are. They really are. And the cops, yeah, if they've got it the focus the right way, I mean, it's a good thing. If you're wasting your FBI tracking down people because you don't like him, President Trump, and wasting all the time on that, that's a waste of time. It's a joke. I had a guy tell me once. This guy, he said he believes. He said, I heard there's all kinds of rapes in prison. He says the guy's getting raped all the time. And I said, well, I hadn't seen that. But now he's also in favor. Well, you got to let these people out. This is crazy. You close these prisons. So I said, let me get this straight. You got guys sodomizing inmates in there, and now you want to let them out? Are they coming to your house? Well, hell no. Whose house they going to? Because eventually they'll make it to your house. In the right wing, this idea of lock them up and throw away the key. It doesn't work. It's not like it's the same sentence for everyone. But to the people who want to let everybody out, this is what's always got me about that. If you talk to people, like when first got out, I lived in the hood, and it was the hood. I mean, it was. And they had a lot of people from the hood who were in prison. And not one person in that hood ever said they should close the prisons. They never said that. It's always some elitist drinking tea out of a cup or champagne from a long stem glass with a cigarette holder or a vape holder or whatever they do now, saying they should close the prisons and let them out. Well, do you want them to come to your neighborhood? Where are these people going to go? Where do you want to send them? Like they got some magic land they're going to send them off to, and they're all going to stay there and be happy, and walk in the light. Now they're going to walk in the light, right? The flashlight when they're breaking into your fucking garage. But the point is, they always have this idea, but nowhere to go with it. Yeah, it's ridiculous. One size does not fit all. I hate that saying, but I guess that's what it is. So we're not closing all the prisons down. Wouldn't that be the shits? Anyway, this Jack and GT here from Fed Joints and Beer Joints. We're all in this together. We'll see you next time.